Your circle will change as you accomplish your goals and level up. Everybody can't go.
And we live. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Everybody Can't Go Convo. As always, I'm your host, Jessi Holly, and today I have for you guys a very special guest. We have Ianna Giselle, who is the co-host of the Too Deep podcast and a life coach. And today we are going to talk through a few things that I know that she's worked through and some of the things that she has to teach. And we're going to go ahead and just dive straight into it. You guys are in for an amazing treat. This is someone who brings grace and mercy in a flow that I know you haven't experienced it like this before, because she is the only person that can be Iyana in only the way that Iyana can be. Welcome to the show, Iyana. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. You're so kind. I love it. Sweet.
Of course, of course. So, to kick us off, give us a brief introduction of yourself and then let us know what you have going on at current in your business and in your field.
Yes, happy to. So, a brief introduction of myself. So, I am Ianna Giselle. I am, like she said, the a co-host of the Too Deep podcast. Right now, we're in between seasons. So, the summer is when we are getting deeper into our passions and our fields. So, Adonis Barrera, he is getting into more of the videography side. So, he has had a couple, what is that called? He's had a few gigs before, but now he's jumping into real estate photography and videography. And then with my side, I am actually switching gears for my industry. Right now, I'm in parks and recreation, but I am going into the medical field. So I am going to be applying and getting all my prereqs in order for nursing school and eventually a naturopathic doctor. I finally landed on marrying all of my background with hospitality, with parks and recreation, with life coaching, and I'm going to pursue the medical field now and just take it on. So I'm really excited and just building more of my portfolio so that I can continue to add in more to the industry, hopefully. So, thank
Awesome, awesome. And later in the episode, we will get into what prompted that transition. Um,
yes.
and as a matter of fact, we can go ahead and get kicked off with that instead of waiting for later. So, what was the progression and what prompted you to just fully go straight into the medical and healthcare field?
Okay, so I originally knew, so like high school wise, I wanted to be a doctor. I had no idea what type of doctor, so I was like, it's fine. Like, if I'm not meant to be in it, like if it's not popping up right now, it's fine. Let's see like what else we can do. So then I went between personal training to and event planning, and I realized that none of those needed like an actual degree, and I was like, it's fine. Like, just keep moving forward. So I am an absolute lover of learning and what's it called? And learning through experiences. So for me, like I love getting into yes, I like the the reading component and the educational component and having support in that already made system, but I also like to be creative. So um I ended up marrying both events management and personal training and put it into my parks and recreation degree. Um, and then what is it? So then I realized like in the parks and recreation industry, yes, I'm giving back to my community, but I'm not doing as much health and wellness as I would like. When I was in my last semester at George Mason University, I ended up taking a gap semester. And that's where I found my life purpose life coaching certification. I did that in about 3 months, and I was like, I fell in love with the health and wellness aspect of it. And then from health and wellness, I added that component into the after school program that I'm currently running right now. And um, and then I realized like it's still not clicking. Like I'm still missing something right now. I love being forward facing with the kids, but there's just a lot more administrative tasks that I'm doing and handling. And um, what I also realized is Parks and Recreation is a very fun and a very fun industry. And my work ethic is actually like I'm a type A person, and I do very well in the stress, and then I can like come back down and like have fun. Versus like Parks and Recreation, you have to switch your brain in the sense of like you're having a lot of fun, but when is it time to switch gears and like get the work done?
Mhm.
So that's also why I was like, ooh, maybe medical field. And what really pushed it over the edge for me going into pursuing the medical field is I finally went to the Philippines and what's it called? I finally went to the Philippines, got to really see like where my parents and my grandparents grew up, and going through what is it? Going through my grandma's province in the Philippines, there's this thing called hilot where basically it's like healing, and whether it's like it's basically a massage therapist, but in the spiritual realm as well. And so I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so um I'm like getting all confused because I was born and raised Catholic, and we have like so many different like we're very rigid and like our prayer and everything. And then when and I have my own life coach as well as my own therapist. So for those of you that don't know, life coaching is for your future and for your present, and like learning what steps to take to meet your goals. Versus therapy is looking at your past and dealing with like your emotional side and how that impacts your present, but it doesn't have to control your future. And so after I did therapy, after I went to the Philippines, my therapist is so great. She asked me like what's the connection with my grandma and being back in the Philippines. And that stemmed um the transition of, oh my gosh, I have a lot more to give besides the what's it called? But like I have a lot of passion for whatever I do. Like as anything that I do, I put my whole heart into it. And so my grandma used to be one of the older ladies in the Philippines that would like heal people, quote unquote. And I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe that's my connection with my grandma, and maybe that's where I'm actually supposed to be like leading towards. Like I know I want to be a healer. I just never like dove into it. And then God bless TikTok, because there was a naturopathic doctor that was like, um, I'm a naturopathic doctor. This is the type of groceries that I get at Costco. And I was like, what is a naturopathic doctor? And so I looked it up, and there's six main components of naturopathic doctors. And the main thing that really struck me was um, doctors are educators. And I was like, light bulb, like, here we go. Um, Let me learn all about naturopathic doctors and how I can eventually apply it to teaching and building my own practice and teaching other people how to live a more healthy, whole life, which shout out to Jess. Am wearing my shirt that says healthy, wealthy, whole. This shirt couldn't be more perfect. So I appreciate you. And long story short, that's how I got into switching from Parks and Recreation into the medical field. So
Wow, that's really powerful. In the way
thank
that it's actually like a part of your bloodline,
you.
and it's transcended. That would be three generations: your grandma, your parents, and then you. And I don't know how many thousands of miles between here and the Philippines, but just transcending space, the amount of space physically, geographically, and then the time generationally, and it's still like it's deep in your heart, and it's also a part of your bloodline and everything, and for that to come back around full circle and you're like, ah, yes, this is it, I finally have the thing, that makes me so excited for you, and I am really really happy about that, and really excited for this next transition that you're going through in your field, and how you've melded everything together. And knowing you, it sounds so fitting that like all of those different light bulb moments and everything that led to making the
Yeah.
decision. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, yes, yes. Why didn't we see this before? So I totally get
Right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying all of that too. Like
it.
you
Of
witnessed
course.
it. You actually witnessed like all the steps along the way. So I'm just so grateful about like to have such a dear friend in you. Thank you.
Always, always. Okay. So in the 2D podcast, and you talked about in a recent episode about setting boundaries to live by your word. And I was
Yeah.
wondering, could you share with the audience, how has that manifested in your own life? And then how did you handle the situations?
Yes, happy to. The very first one that struck is, like I said, whatever I do, I put my whole heart and soul into it. And when I stepped into this managerial position, um, the very first boundary that I had to learn was the difference between taking things too personal versus making sure that it's like that you're still being professional and um keeping those spaces separate, and what especially if it's not your own business, like if you're in the corporate world or something like that. So the way that I handled that situation, um, in my mantra, I say grace and mercy flows when I open my mind, mouth, heart, and soul. And I did not give myself, in the very first stages of that, I did not give myself that much grace. I did not give myself enough, like, through that learning process. But everything happens for a reason. Everything that I've experienced in those like first like in that first year especially, it made me stronger and made me who I am today. So looking back, of course, now I can always like genuinely appreciate like the growth that I've had, but at the same time, um, I really had to grow through that process of adversity and um the way that I separated the not even just like the work life balance or work life harmony, it was just um, when you're working with other people, you have to realize that some people are only there just for a paycheck, and that's okay. Like, there's different stages of life, and understanding for me, I had to understand that component so that I wouldn't take whatever they do as a personal offense to myself. And that was a really hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, it was, um, I can give them grace now that I'm giving myself grace, of understanding, like, oh, it's okay. Like, they're only here for a paycheck. And even if I'm like so passionate about this project or something like that, it's okay to meet people where they're at instead of forcing my own beliefs or anything on them. Um, yeah.
That was really good. And I'll point out, you guys heard that she talked about changing herself, not changing what other people are doing, not changing other people's actions, their outlooks. I will remind you guys yet again, the only thing that we control is ourselves and how we respond to
Mhm.
situations. And that's where you find power. That's where you find peace. That is where you
Yes.
find your growth. By, not setting boundaries and all these other things so that you can get other people to do what you want them to do. Like,
Yes.
like we're looking at ourselves, we're looking inward and growing from there.
No,
And so
exactly.
you tipped a little bit on talking about caring for yourself. And I know you guys talked about that yourself, and Adonis spoke about that on a previous pod episode as well. And I like the concept of, you called it refueling. Here we call it self care. So refueling, self care, same principle. And so in practicing that self care, how do you refuel during the week? What about refueling daily?
Yes. So, this is, like I said, it's the summer, so it's getting into like our busy season. This is actually, on top of being like an after school program coordinator, I'm also um a teen camp supervisor. So it's nonstop the whole year round, and this is our busy season. So taking that time to refuel and add that self-care, I like to look at the 8 dimensions of wellness, which is also what we teach in my after school program. So for those of you that don't know, there's 8 dimensions of wellness, whether it's physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, spiritual, I think I already said spiritual, but financial, and so on and so forth. And so daily, what I like to do is hit my hit my three main ones, which is my spiritual, my physical, and my emotional. And so what that looks like daily is, and it looks different daily, but at the same time, as long as I hit those three, that's what the goal is. So for let me see. For physical, my it's either working out or giving myself rest, drinking plenty of water. My biggest rule of thumb is probably half your body weight in ounces, so that it's tailored to you. It's not just like, oh, drink a full gallon of water and then you have all this like extra weight because it's water weight. No, that's not like tailored to you. And so that's more of like the physical component. And then of course like nutrition. Are you stretching, and are you doing the mobility, like the 5 mobility stretches or something like that? Are you moving your body, or are you taking the stairs instead of the elevator when you can, and things like that. Another wellness component that I like to do is my spiritual wellness, and that so I am Christian, so I taking that time to pray in the morning and or at night, and then throughout the day, whether it's like on my drive or when I know I'm starting to get frustrated from whatever, then it's like, okay, let me take the moment to be by myself. Let me tap on my heart to soften it. Let me just take that time to, yes, exactly. Let me take that time to just be with God and fill up with Him, and be in His presence and call upon Him to make sure that um I'm representing Him in the way that I know He would want me to represent Him in that sense. And then also in the spiritual realm too, I started reading my Bible more. I'm not one of the Christians that have read like the whole Bible from cover to cover, but um we have to start somewhere, so that's fine. I So every day at night is when I'll actually like pick a page. I'll like see like what the one like scripture is, and then um if I so I'm a little bit funny, but if I do relate to it, then I'll just keep reading. But if I don't relate to it, then I'll flip to another page. I don't know like what the like all the rules are and everything, but at least like, okay, like let me see. I know that that's not connecting with me. Let's keep looking. to see what else is going on and see, like, open my mind to seeing what God has to say and to direct me in whatever way he's moving me towards. So that's my spiritual side. And then the emotional side, it comes in different forms. Most of the time my physical is also my emotional, just to get everything out, because if you have met me, you know that I am a fireball sometimes, and I just hold everything in. And then I just realize, like, okay, I need to relax. And if I'm told to relax, then that's when I tighten up a little bit more. So it's like, okay, let's figure out like other ways to like let this loose. So sometimes it looks like a dance party. Sometimes it looks like journaling. Sometimes it looks like just zoning out and watching like one episode. Or my favorite is cooking. I'm not the best cook at all, but at the same time, at least there's like I'm getting creative with my hands and I'm putting my heart and soul into the food that I'm cooking. Um, so those are just some ways of like even meal prepping, or like um doing an overnight oats or something like that. That's like, okay, let me pray over my food while I'm getting it together. And um, I know this is going to nurture my body, so let's see what else we can do to make this more lively, whether it's like adding some vanilla or agave or something like that. But yeah.
That it sounds like you were like super efficient and that you've like mastered habit stacking. I love all of the different ways that you talked about some of the tasks and things that you're doing that we may see it as a task list item, and you've actually like created spaces for joy in everything that you're doing. It sounds like by coupling it with some type of emotional release, a mental
Mhm.
health aspect, or a spiritual aspect, where you're actually able to like work joyfully because you're not just focusing only on the task at hand and that it has to be done, but that it's something that you get to do, that you have the choice to do that thing. And like those connections that you made with each of the different tasks that you were talking about, and I'm like, huh, I should make sure that I do that more. Sometimes
Yeah.
if the day is really long, cooking can feel like a task when all it takes is grab the speaker, take it downstairs with you, or go ahead and turn on Club YouTube, and music,
Yeah.
boom, there you go. Like there's enjoyment added
Yeah.
there, not just like, oh, I gotta cook after this. It's like, no, I get to cook. And I don't have to just cook silently while stewing in the day. You see what I did there? But I get to cook well, I'm having like a joyful experience, and there's a choice in doing that. And I'd like to encourage
Mhm.
all of you guys that some of these tasks and things that we have to do during the day, go ahead and make those positive connections and habit
Mhm.
stack that positive aspect onto it, and also be mindful of doing that before you enter into whatever the task is that you're doing. Be mindful that you get to choose, that you get to do this thing, and then you also have the choice on whether or not you'll be able to set the atmosphere to do it joyfully, or at bare minimum, if it's something that you don't really want to do, you could at least do it neutral when you give just that little bit of forethought and take that pause and ponder to yourself, how can I make this enjoyable for myself? How can I make this pleasurable, as something that it already needs to be done? So either way, you kind of are going to have to do it. So why not be able to find ways to do it joyfully? I really love that. So, when you were talking about doing your refueling during the week and like each day, when you're choosing which of those wellness pillars that is the greatest focus daily, what suggestions do you have for handling any disruptions that may come in and kind of like throw us off of our self refueling schedule?
Yes. A great example is yesterday. I think I worked like a 15-hour shift, and I, yeah, camp is wild, but that's okay. I already knew what I signed up for. Um, so basically, with the after that whole day, I think I left at like almost, I was like close to 9 p.m. when I finally got home, and I was ready to just knock out and just call it a day. But I was like, okay, no. I know I'm gonna need food tomorrow, and I know, um, what's it called? The sun is still up right now. Like it's not quite like fully down yet. So what I ended up doing was parking my car, and I did like one lap, like I live in a cul-de-sac, so I was like, okay, just do like one lap just to get like the emotions out of the day. Like you do not need to carry it inside the house. It's okay. So take care of yourself. That's like your physical one. And then what's it called? And then after I like got in, I took a shower and then I was like, okay, cool. Like I like literally washed the whole day away. So let me make sure that I'm prepping myself for tomorrow. And as much as I wanted to get like stay on a sleep schedule, um that those three things of like prepping for the next day and taking care of what happened during the day was the best thing that I could have done because it didn't keep like yesterday didn't keep lingering into today. So when I woke up this morning, I was ready to go. And even if I did sleep that extra 15 minutes today, I still got in on time. So I was like, okay, perfect. Like the little extra that you have that you can do the day before will always um what's it called? Will always prep you for success for the next day. And then that way, when things do pop up, at least you know you did what you could when you could. And then there's also like that mental shift of, um, what's it called? It's always going to be hard, but which hard do you want? A hard, like which struggle do you want? So just picking and choosing like, okay, I'll continue to fight right now so that I can get the rest tomorrow, or no, it's okay, I'm going to get some rest, and I know once I get this rest I'll be ready to wake up and continue tomorrow. So just choosing which one you want. um I hope that answered the question. Let me know if it didn't too.
It did, and that was actually a perfect example. That was really perfect. Because usually if we're having our refueling schedule disrupted, one of the main culprits that could happen is if you have a long day at work and you do have that feeling where it's just like, oh, I'm just so over this, like, forget everything. And it's like, wait, don't forget everything, including your self care, your refueling schedule, and prep for tomorrow. Like, let's forget the things that happen throughout today. And I liked
Mhm.
that you pointed out that instead of going for like a full on workout, after you were already like exhausted from a long day, it's like, okay, self, no, we're not doing a full 30 to 60-minute workout. We're just going to do one lap. And that one lap was fine.
Yeah.
And the intentionality that you put in that one lap, that was a lap so that you could release. What you said, I'm not going to take the day in the house with me. Like I really liked that. A lot of times, we'll see memes and things that talk about like, oh, at the end of the day when you have to sit in your car to decompress or whatever after a long day,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily, if the weather is nice, if you have the
Hmm.
opportunity, you don't have to just sit in the car. Sometimes when we just sit in the car after, we are still kind of stewing in and ruminating on all of those things that happened during the day. And it does help to get up and get moving. And by get up and get moving, you don't have to get out and run a mile. Huh, I know that I'm not getting out and running a mile, but just taking that walk, it doesn't even have to be brisk, but getting out,
Hmm.
taking that walk, get
Exactly.
your body moving a bit while you're not just thinking about those things, but think about it and you're letting it go. You're letting those emotions out. You're mentally and
Hmm.
emotionally focused on releasing the day before you get to the door. And then there everybody got to take a shower. Everybody got to take a bath. You have
Yeah.
to wash your body in some type of way. So when you're going into that
Yeah.
intentionally, again, just like I said a few minutes before, when we're looking at habit stacking
Mm-hmm.
things, sometimes it's just something as simple as, you know what, tonight I'm going to break out that expensive body scrub because I'd like to smell like
Yeah.
mangoes tonight. And
Mhm.
you may have your few little like special things. I go out of my way sometimes where I will get like special bath and body products that are like, the handmade artisan with the special
Yeah.
rose oil of Japan and different things like that, that it's like, oh, this is so expensive. And it's like, well, you know what, this can be used for a self-care shower or a self-care bath.
Right.
I don't necessarily have to go dig into my $200 pot of body scrub that has all of these special patchouli and all of these other things. And sometimes go ahead and grab those things while you're out at the mall. You may see something that you really like,
Exactly.
and my mind has automatically made the connection that I'm like,
Mm.
oh, you know what? That this is a self-care time. I'm going to use, my special stuff. So
Yeah.
find those different ways that you'll have like those little self-care breaks or those small moments to refuel. It doesn't again, it doesn't have to be luxury, it doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
It could just be something that is a favorite scent of yours, something that you
Mm-hmm.
use on the regular basis, but go ahead and spritz it on, just so that you can feel the and make sure that you're releasing that end of that day. So yeah, that was a perfect example, and I loved how you had like a layered approach at full decompression for the evening, because that nighttime routine, as it carries over into the next day, the crap
Mm-hmm.
from the previous day can carry over into the next morning. You go to sleep angry,
Exactly.
you wake up tired, and you wake up stressed out, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, why do I feel like this and I just woke up? It's because you didn't release those hormones, you didn't release those emotions,
Yeah.
you didn't release those mental thoughts before you got into the bed and lay down to actually go to sleep. So that was a perfect example of a beautiful decompression routine, that it actually works. It doesn't just
Yeah.
feel good here, but it actually feels good and it works here, and not just in your mental, but literally in your brain, guys. This is something that it helps to set you up for success for the next day.
Yes. Exactly.
So with having like, having some hard days, some days that are great, how did you arrive at making the decision to refuel daily and start to like build out these habits like you just walked us through?
Oh, this is so good. I think it started when I transitioned from college to like being a full-time employee. Um, I think learning that's like a whole different ball game. And I didn't become a full-time employee until probably a year and a half after I graduated from college. So there was like a whole bunch of time of just like trying to figure things out. And then once I was a full-time employee, then it was like, okay, what are my responsibilities? What does life look like right now? And getting, being fully transparent, um, and also giving myself grace. In my own opinion, I didn't take that transition period very lightly. I'm grateful that I was still living under my parents' roof at the time. So I did have support and I was still working all of I think there was like three, yeah, I want to say there was about three part-time positions that I was like um, going working before I got into that full-time position. And what made me really take a second to like stop was, okay, this is this is my current and this is my present. I know I'm working towards my future. So what are the steps to actually set myself up for success to meet my goals. um Joining the accountability group definitely helped me like center myself. Keeping like I said, I am a forever learner, so learning about the 8 dimensions of wellness and learning about life coaching and learn and what is it, YouTube University, with all of the different podcasts, with all of the different what is it, like the free courses and everything, just learning about different aspects of my life. What's it called? So, and then once I was able to like learn all of that, applying it was a whole nother ball game. So, um, when in my first year of that full-time position, I felt so emotional, but I didn't know like what proper ways of going about it. And I would vent and rant to anyone who would listen. And it was like, you did not need to, for me, I was like, you did not need to tell your whole life story to this person that just asked, how are you doing? Or bawl your eyes out just because someone asked, are you okay? Or something like that. And so I was like, oh no, like let me take care of myself and figure out like what does Ianna need to maintain that balance um of happiness and joy and being able to be social, but also take care of my responsibilities while not being too serious and still enjoying life. And those are all huge like questions that I had no answers to. So it was trial and error um until I set up those boundaries and learned, okay, it's time to move out, or it's time to um separate myself from people that were great for a time period, but I don't see them like adding to my future plans right now. So let me just like put a pause on this or put a pin in it. This project is not fulfilling me right now, so let me devote more energy towards something that can continue to move the needle instead of um, harboring and um like what is that called, instead of just like masking in all of my emotions in an unproductive way. So that's when I realized I can't just wait every quarter to go to um what is it, to go get a massage. I have to be intentional about taking care of um my physical being daily, and that's part of like working out and stretching. I can't just wait every Sunday to go to church. I actually have to be intentional and pray every day. I can't just um let one fight with one coworker be one thing and then let it impact my actual romantic relationship. Like I need to um, let things be where they are, and learning when to separate the different components. So yes, it's compartmentalizing, but when you look at like the full life, um, that's where I had to be intentional about, okay, this is a daily thing. Like taking care of myself is a daily thing. So, yeah.
That is amazing. And I heard throughout you were talking about a lot of the habits that you decided that you couldn't take along with you. And
Mhm.
I love the different realizations that you came to as you've like worked through and have grown through your own journey to get to where you are now. And looking toward the future looks super bright, and I am very excited. And I'm just so proud of all the progress that you've made over the past couple of years, and all of these different things that you've learned. And how many times do I tell you guys? Information does not change a darn thing. Applying the information is what does it for you. So, with that, we will go ahead and we will call it a day. I thank you so much for coming on with us today. And we will see you guys next week for another Everybody Can't Go convo. Thanks for coming on with us today, Yana.
Thank you, Jessi.